Downing-Frye Realty, and this is Ask Renee, where I tackle some of the most common real estate questions that you may have. Today, what we're going to talk about is how much is a realtor going to cost me if I work with one? And the answer is, it depends. Now, what do I mean by that? It depends on whether you are the buyer or the seller. Let's talk about it starting on the selling side. When somebody wants to list and market and sell their property through a real estate brokerage, at the onset of signing that listing agreement between the broker and the homeowner, the commission rate is established. And by that I mean, just as an example, that homeowner and the broker may agree that they're going to pay a 6% commission rate to sell their home. Now, who gets that commission rate? It depends on where the buyer comes from. So the listing agent is always going to get about half of that commission. And I say about because, again, that gets established in the process, the listing agreement process as well. But for this example, we'll assume it's a 50-50 split, meaning the listing agent, for all their work to market and sell and negotiate the sale of your home, would get half of that 6%. The other 3% may be tagged for when the buyer's agent brings a buyer. Now that could be paid to the listing agent if the listing agent happens to bring a buyer, in which case they would get the full 6%, or it could be paid to a separate agent that brings in a buyer. So one of the things that often comes up on this is, well, gosh, so if I'm a buyer, I understand I'm not paying the commission directly to the agent supporting me, but if I didn't have an agent, could I get a better deal on the house? And again, what I want to remind you is that commission rate gets set before you ever show up on the scene as a buyer. And so the homeowner has already committed to paying 6% commission rate on that home, regardless of whether the buyer has a buyer's agent representing them or not. Again, if the buyer does not have an agent representing them, the full 6% just gets paid out to the listing agent. But because the commission rate was established at the point of agreement to list the home, that homeowner has to pay that 6% regardless of whether you bring an agent or not. So because of that, I always encourage the buyers I meet, whether they come and work with me or a different realtor of their choice, it is so important to have someone representing you. And truly, as a buyer, it doesn't cost you anything. It's not going to affect the agreement contract price you get on a home because the seller is already obligated to pay that set commission rate, regardless of whether you bring an agent or not. So, what does a real estate agent cost you? To come back to the question, it costs the seller whatever they've agreed to pay in commission, and it costs the buyer nothing other than if there's a broker transaction fee, which tends to be pretty nominal, usually in the $200 to $300 range. I hope that answers your question, and if I can be of any assistance in any of your real estate needs, whether you are considering buying or selling property, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, Renee Hahn, Downing-Frye Real Estate, 239-287-2576. Have a fantastic